Tips from the ER. You should get vaccinated. Yes, of course, you can still get COVID-19 even if you're vaccinated. The same way you can still get pregnant if you use birth control, and the same way you can still die from a car accident if you use a seatbelt. But that doesn't mean you're not going to use the birth control or the seatbelt. The vaccine is not a cure. It is a layer of protection. Up to 95%. 95% is not 100%. They've been telling you this since day one. You can still get COVID-19 even if you're vaccinated. We didn't kill the virus. It's still very much there. But the vaccine helps protect you from developing severe symptoms from the virus, so you don't die. It also reduces the risk of you spreading the virus, so other people don't die. Did you think about that?
Keliru dan juga takutkan vaksin COVID-19. Jadi kita sekarang dalam fasa program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan yang mana kerajaan Malaysia meletakkan sasaran supaya 70 hingga 80% masyarakat Malaysia akan divaksinkan pada hujung tahun ini. Seterusnya kita akan membentuk imuniti kelompok. Itu sebenarnya yang kita mahukan daripada program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. Jadi Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kembali lagi bertemu dalam Hak Chat Saving Life Series dibawakan khas kepada anda daripada Institut Jantung Negara. Dan 3 minggu sebelum ini, kita banyak sebenarnya berkongsi kepada anda tentang pentingnya untuk mengambil vaksin. Soalan-soalan anda di Facebook juga dijawab oleh pakar-pakar di Institut Jantung Negara. Jadi hari ini sekali lagi, kami bawakan perbincangan 30 minit ini. Kita akan bercakap mengenai vaksin dan hari ini topiknya adalah vaksin hesitancy as our pharmacist. Jadi bersama dengan saya pada hari ini adalah Puan Kamalis Wari Arumugam, iaitu Senior Principal Pharmacist daripada Institut Jantung Negara. Okay. Today we're going to talk about the vaccine and we need your perspective to explain to people about the good of the vaccine and anything that people will ask you and you need to answer their question. So we start our first question today. Why should I get COVID-19 vaccine? Okay. From your perspective as a pharmacist.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the question. I think that the COVID vaccine is a very important tool, against our fight against COVID. There are many benefits to the vaccination. Basically, the whole idea of getting the vaccination is to prevent COVID infection and reduce the chance of you getting COVID. And even if you are vaccinated and you get COVID, basically what you're going to get is, you don't get a severe form of COVID and you don't end up in ICU or hospital and die as a result of getting COVID infection. It also reduces the spread of COVID. So if you're fully vaccinated, the chance of you spreading it to people around you, to your loved ones, for example, your colleague, your family members, your friends, is also much less. The whole idea of this vaccination is to achieve herd immunity. I think all of us are aware Malaysia is a very bad condition because hospitals are under tremendous strain and our frontliners are working very hard to treat people with COVID infection. We have to get to a situation where things are back to normal, all right? So we can do some of those things that we love, such as going out, social gathering, being able to travel interstate to see our parents, etc.
Okay. If you have any question, you can ask, you can deliver your question through the column of the comment. I will read the question and Madam Kamala will answer your question. Such as Hassanuddin Din got question here, but I will read the question after this. Let me dig to you first with some question that I've prepared to you. For the second question here, should I stop taking my medicine if I want to get vaccinated?
So you don't really have to. So you have got a chronic medical condition. Basically, you don't need to stop taking a medication, such as if you've got high blood pressure or diabetes or high cholesterol. You can take your medication before and after vaccination. Two medications I'd like to focus on is two types of medication. One is an anticoagulant. So if you're taking drugs such as warfarin, rivaroxaban, apixaban, or dabigatran, or you are on an immunosuppressant such as high-dose prednisolone, you are taking medication for active cancer, or you've had a transplant and you're on an immunosuppressant drug, basically what you need to do is basically go and see your doctor, and they will do what is called a pre-vaccination assessment.
Will the cycle of our medicine cycle will change if we take the vaccine, or if we take the vaccine pre and post? Is it going to change or not?
Not necessarily. As I said, if you're on one of these medications, especially an immunosuppressant, what the doctor will do is do the pre-vaccination assessment, and they will determine if you know on the period of vaccination, is it suitable for you to get the vaccination now, or do we need to delay slightly? All right. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to stop taking a medication, but you know, if you're, as I said, if you're on these two groups of medication, go see your doctor, get the assessment done, and basically you could be vaccinated safely.
Okay, there is a most important things here. You should refer to your doctor before you get the vaccination if you are under the category that explained by our guest today. So we take one question before we proceed to another question here.
Okay.
You can ask question in English and as well in bahasa, because Puan Mala juga boleh terangkan kepada anda dalam bahasa Melayu. Ada soalan ini daripada Hasanuddin. Kalau dah pasang belon 3 saluran dan pakai bateri, boleh ke vaksin atau adakah akan ada efek selepas itu?
So basically untuk patient ni so anda boleh menerima vaksin, tapi kalau anda ragu, boleh berjumpa doktor, so cardiologist anda sebelum and buatlah pre-vaccination assessment, bincang dengan dia sebelum anda menerima vaksin.
Okay. I hope Puan Kamales sudah pun menjawab soalan Hasanuddin Din. Soalan seterusnya nanti saya akan bacakan. We go to the next question. Why, as a pharmacist, why, from your perspective, why the elderly and the vulnerable category of people should take the vaccine first?
So I'm going to touch on the Malaysian data for COVID. And so if you actually look at it, around about 70% of COVID deaths in our country occurred in those above 60-year-old, all right? And in 90% of these people, they had actually at least one underlying health condition. Hence why they are treated as a priority group, and the phase rollout actually focuses on them first.
Okay. The next question from the Facebook, this is come from Alistair Seo. After putting stent for 1 year, can inject the vaccine? Will it get blood clot, or it will cause heart attack again?
The answer is no. Basically, again, you can speak to your cardiologist if you're really concerned. Stenting is not a contraindication for vaccination. If you're on, as I said, the anticoagulant medication, all right, or if you're taking dual antiplatelet. So if you're taking clopidogrel and aspirin together, you may want to discuss this with your cardiologist before you proceed with the vaccination.
Okay. Salah satu soalan yang paling popular yang ditanya sebagai seorang pharmacist, adakah vaksin itu sebenarnya berbentuk ubat yang boleh treat ataupun boleh menyembuhkan COVID-19, ataupun apakah, what are the difference between the vaccine and our current medicine?
Okay, so basically vaccine is intended to prevent COVID infection. So if you already have COVID infection, you cannot get the vaccine. It's intended to prevent you from getting the COVID infection. If you get COVID infection, there are various medications that's available that's used to treat the COVID condition. Okay.
So as we all know, after the vaccine, we can get the side effect. Like me, I take my first jab last week. I take AstraZeneca last week, and the side effect is different from other people's. I don't feel any very hot to my body. I don't feel pain or anything. I just very hungry after that. So different people are going through the different side effects. So from your experience, what is your side effect and how you overcome it?
Okay. So just talking about side effect, the ones that you commonly have are things like, fever, chills, body pain, injection site pain or redness, and these are actually easily treated. Okay, so they usually last between 1 to 2 days. All right. So for me, after I got my first dose, very similar to you, I wasn't hungry, but I didn't feel anything.
This is very special for me. Very hungry. I don't
That's
know
a good
why.
side effect. Okay, after my second dose, I had fever and chills and body ache and pain. Basically, what I did was take some Panadol, rested, slept for a long time, and then I recovered from it very quickly. The following day, I was back to normal, doing all my chores, etc. What I'd like to stress is, commonly people will experience mild side effect after the vaccination. Very few people had a serious side effect that required hospitalization. In Malaysia, so far, there have been no deaths linked to the COVID vaccine. All right. I just want to talk a little bit about the reporting of the adverse event. So if you had an adverse event after your vaccination, we do have a very good reporting system in Malaysia. You can actually report it through your MySejahtera app. All right. So if you pull up your phone, you can see that, you will have a first dose completed in there. All right. Basically, what you have to do is click on it and it come up with a link, and you can actually report the most common side effects in it, right? So you click on this link, and you can just click on it and submit this data. All right. Alternatively, if the adverse event is not in this link, what you can do is go to the NPRA, which is a National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency in Malaysia. And in their website, there's a form you can fill and you submit. It's called Conserve form. The other thing you can do alternatively is go back to your Klinik Kesihatan or the Pusat Pemberian Vaksin, and they can actually report it on your behalf as well.
Okay. Jadi ada banyak sebenarnya soalan di Facebook, tetapi kalau saya boleh mohon kepada anda semua yang bertanyakan soalan, bersama kita pada hari ini adalah Senior Principal Pharmacist. Jadi tanyakan soalan yang berkaitan dengan pharmacist, ataupun senang cerita dalam bahasa kita, seorang yang pakar ubat lah. Jadi kalau nak tanya pasal pembedahan jantung semua itu sedikit tak sesuai, nanti kita akan bawakan lagi perbincangan mengenai bagaimana kalau anda semua ada masalah jantung lepas pembedahan dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau hari ini, kalau anda ada masalah or you have any problems about their medicine cycle, medication cycle, you can ask the question and I will read it. Puan Kamales akan explain to you to get the clear view of the vaccination process. We go to the next question here. People still believe that AstraZeneca vaccine will lead to blood clot. Based on the facts, the incidence is only 0.004% with the side effects worldwide. So can you please comment on it?
Okay, so you've had the AstraZeneca vaccine?
Yes, I take the AstraZeneca last week.
Okay, so as you mentioned, it's a very extremely rare adverse event of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It is just like any other vaccine. You can actually get very mild effect, but this one we are talking about is a very severe adverse event, and it's very rare. All right. So what we know about it is that in the cases that has reported so far, it occurs mainly in women who are less than 60 years old, so younger women, and it usually happens after your first dose, okay, and within the first 2 weeks. So if you've had an AstraZeneca vaccine, in the first 4 to 30 days, you need to monitor for some of these symptoms, all right? And the symptoms I'm talking about is a very severe and persistent headache, which is worse when you actually lie down or bend down. Some neurological symptoms such as dizziness, blurred vision. The third one is severe abdominal pain. Fourth is swelling ankle or feet, chest pain or shortness of breath, and any kind of tiny spots under your skin. All right.
It's like a rashes.
Sorry.
It's like a rashes.
Yes, tiny blood spots under your skin. All right. So if you experience any of this effect, what you basically have to do is go immediately to the nearest hospital and get all of this looked at.
Okay. Right? The next question from the Facebook, this is related to our discussion today. This is from Puan Matahari. Saya sudah dapat surat pengesahan dari pakar Institut Jantung Negara dan sudah terima temujanji vaksin di hospital Jumaat ini. Soalan saya, perlu tak saya makan ubat Apixaban pagi Jumaat ini sebelum ambil vaksin?
Okay, so
pre and post how?
So basically, there's two ways. Some of the cardiologists here actually recommend you wait until after the vaccination to take your Apixaban. All right. And kalau cardiologist anda beritahu jangan makan waktu pagi, ambil vaksin dulu baru makan ubat. tolong ikutlah arahan dia. Atau kalau dia kata boleh vaksinasi macam normal, anda boleh ikut cadangan dia lah.
So it depend on the doctor that refer her to the PPV, Pusat Pemberian Vaksin.
So the pre-vaccination assessment should have that information already.
Okay. When we talk about the medicine, one commonly asked question in social media currently is, do you take Panadol before and after the vaccination process? This is most popular topic today. I have to take the Panadol. People will talk to you, okay, before you go to the vaccine, please take Panadol, or after, please prepare the Panadol. Is it true, or is it can be applied?
No, not necessarily. Basically, you can take Panadol if you have an adverse event. All right. As I said, the adverse event is very unpredictable. You could be normal after your dose of vaccine. You might experience nothing, you know. So in that case, you don't need to take Panadol. So if you have a fever or body ache or pain, you can take Panadol after the vaccination. If you're taking Panadol or any medication for a chronic condition, you can continue to do the same. But if you think that you're going to minimize the adverse event by taking Panadol, doesn't quite work that way, actually.
So before is
no need
to take before the event. Another question is another topic that people will always discuss is besides Panadol, we have to take vitamin C and any other supplements. What's your point of view?
Yeah, so you can, if you think vitamin C is of benefit to you. I know that people are a bit nervous and therefore they're taking high dose vitamin C. You can continue to do so. All right.
Okay. The next question from the Facebook here, should breastfeeding mothers get the COVID vaccine? Before, sebelum saya terangkan berita terbaru daripada pihak kerajaan, from your point of view, should breastfeeding mothers get the COVID vaccine?
Yes, they should. Okay, so over here in IJN, we have vaccinated a lot of our staff. More than 90% of our staff have been vaccinated. A large number of pregnant breastfeeding mothers have also been vaccinated safely, and they have actually continued to breastfeed. There is, a number of cases where they have actually measured antibodies in the children who are being breastfed, and it has been found that they do have these antibodies as well. So yes, you can continue to breastfeed.
Okay, itu pandangan daripada pakar seorang farmasis. Jadi kalau anda mengikuti berita pada hari ini, Yang Berhormat Khairy Jamaluddin, iaitu Menteri Penyelaras Program Imunisasi COVID-19 Kebangsaan, telah pun menyatakan bahawa anda harus, kalau anda seorang ibu mengandung, anda kena update MySejahtera anda. Dari situ pihak penyelaras akan membuat penyelarasan bahawa bila dan di mana anda akan mendapat vaksin. Paling penting anda kena letakkan tahun anda mengandung, iaitu kalau sekarang tahun inilah 2021, dan bila jangkaan anda akan deliver baby anda. Jadi daripada maklumat yang ada di MySejahtera tersebut, pihak penyelaras program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan akan menyelaras di mana dan bila dan vaksin apa yang sesuai untuk anda. Segalanya akan bergantung kepada penyelarasan di pihak program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. Apa yang penting sekarang, anda kena update MySejahtera anda bermula daripada hari ini. Adakah anda ibu mengandung ataupun tidak? Di sana akan ditentukan proses seterusnya. Baiklah, for the next question here, there are so many people out there who still didn't believe in vaccine. What is your advice?
Okay, basically, if you are listening to the anti-vaxxers who are putting out a number of information that is not based on science and not based on truth, you really need to rethink your decision. All right, about not having the vaccine, because a lot of these people who are putting out these messages, they have a personal agenda, whether it's financial or political reason, etc. So if you're basing your decision on an anti-vaxxer, please don't. All right, what you need to do is basically go and talk to an expert about this vaccine, and the one that's most accessible to you is your own doctor, for example, so you can have and receive unbiased information, and you can make a decision, an informed choice about this vaccine.
Okey, jadi banyak sebenarnya orang yang masih tidak percaya, dan ramai lagi yang menunggu, yang mengambil sifat tunggu dan lihat. wait and see.
Yes.
Want to see that majority of people get vaccinated, want to see the effects, and then they will come next after that. Please, I hope all of you guys who hearing this conversation, please take the vaccination. If you've got the appointment, just go and get the vaccination, because we will want to build the herd immunity, and that is our aim for this year program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan. So the next question here, okay, if you got the appointment on MySejahtera on for the next vaccination date, so how do I prepare myself, especially for those who already settled for the first jab and now I'm prepared for the second jab?
Okay, so basically, what you really need to bring is your IC, your phone, if you registered via MySejahtera, and then your vaccination card. Don't forget, because you get a vaccination card when you receive your first dose. All right, you know, have your breakfast. Be there at the vaccination site about 10 minutes before. Don't go to the vaccination site too early and overcrowd. And wear something comfortable and loose so that you can actually pull up your sleeve. A lot of people don't remember this, and therefore they have to undress in front of the vaccinator, right? And so you just have to be able to pull up your sleeve, because they need access to your entire arm in order to give the vaccine. Alright?
Okay. Jadi tak boleh pakai baju ketat. Kalau macam baju saya sekarang ni, tak boleh nak angkat ni. Kena pakai baju loose supaya proses vaksinasi sekarang mudah. Jadi penting untuk kita senang selesa. Itu yang paling penting. Dan selepas anda dapat vaksinasi, balik makan dan rehatlah. Jadi for the next question, now how do you prepare for vaccination appointment? I mean that if someone is healthy, we know, just follow the flow.
Yeah.
If someone have the health problem, what I understand is we need to get the referral letter from the doctor before we go to the PPV.
Yeah.
What is your opinion?
So this is basically, I talked about it earlier, the pre-vaccination assessment. Not everybody needs it, and as you know, there are 3 groups of people who need it. The first one is if you have severe allergies and multiple allergies. All right. Second group of people is those who are actually taking the anticoagulant medication that I mentioned earlier, and those who are on immunosuppressive drugs. Okay, so these 3 people need to have the pre-vaccination assessment done.
Okay, there's a question here in Facebook from Sarani. There's a widespread suggestion to take aspirin for few days after getting AstraZeneca. How true is this, or is just a myth?
I think there is no such recommendation that's been put out by any sort of CDC or WHO. Even the Malaysian guidelines doesn't talk about it. I think the concern here is that you will get a clot, and the theory is take aspirin, prevent a clot. No, we don't know exactly why it happens and who's at risk of these adverse events. As I said, it's very rare, and basically what you need to do is watch out for those signs. All right. The other thing that I know people ask me is taking something, I can't remember, was also again with the idea of preventing the clot, but no, there's no such recommendation.
Talking about to build a healthy body, there's a question, a bit general but still can relate to the vaccination process. Ini daripada Indonesia. William dari Indonesia, suplemen apa yang harus diminum dari muda sampai tua supaya tubuh sihat dari muda sampai ke tua? Just a bit lari lah daripada our conversation, but it's okay, still okay.
I think the most important thing is to actually eat a very healthy diet, a well-rounded diet, and so if you do so, your immune system should be good enough to protect yourself. Exercise, stay fit. I think that's all very important things. Yeah, so the general recommendation is that.
So exercise regularly, take the healthy food. That is the most, I think, the most important things in our life to get a healthy body lah. Jadi don't depend on the medicine, or don't much depend on the supplement, because I think exercise and clean diet or clean eating is the best method to make sure ourselves will have ourselves doing great for the whole life. Okay, for the next question here, I mean, we still have like 4 to 3 minutes. Maybe you can, any final words from you before we end our session?
So basically what I'd like to say is thank you very much for your interest and thank you for your questions. Basically, if you haven't registered for your vaccination, I believe that, only 10% of the Malaysian population has been vaccinated. please get on the phone, or there's several mechanisms to register for the vaccination. Register for it, and once you receive your vaccine appointment, make the effort to attend the appointment. If you have no reason to not attend the appointment, a lot of work has gone into creating the Pusat Pemberian vaccine and to ready it and send you the appointment. Stay safe, protect yourself and protect others, all right, by getting the vaccine, observing all your SOPs. Okay. That's really important.
Before I end this session, I would like to ask you, what is the process to take the vaccine? I mean that the very details in process. How from start to end? I mean that in IJN what you do.
Okay, so basically when you receive your appointment in your MySejahtera, what you need to do is confirm your attendance, all right? Confirm your attendance that you're actually coming to receive the vaccine. And then secondly, you go there, as I said, you prepare yourself, you go there 10 minutes before the vaccination. And the first thing they will do is they will do a COVID screening, do the temperature check, etc. And once they find that you can be vaccinated, they will get you to register. And the next process is basically some education and where they will take your consent, all right? Where you have the opportunity to ask the doctor there if you have got any questions about the vaccine or any concerns like allergy, etc. Do your consent. And then the next process will be the vaccination itself, all right? And so the phone, the MySejahtera app is used in this process where they will enter the details of your vaccinated, after which, depending on whether you have health condition or allergies, you will be monitored and observed for 15 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Itu dia antara penerangan ringkas dan padat daripada Puan Kamalis Wari Arumugam, Senior Principal Pharmacist, hari ini menerangkan kepada anda dari segi perspektif seorang pharmacist bagaimanakah proses vaksinasi, apakah anda perlu lakukan ketika anda sudah pun mendapat janji temu proses vaksinasi, adakah ada ubat tertentu yang boleh diberhentikan ataupun tidak. Sekarang ini telah menjawab persoalan ini dan kami di IJN, Institut Jantung Negara, insya-Allah akan berikan lagi anda kefahaman mengenai progres vaksinasi ini. Mungkin pada minggu hadapan kita akan pergi kepada topik yang lebih spesifik kepada pesakit jantung contohnya dan sebagainya. Jadi teruskan kesetiaan anda untuk menonton Heart Chat Institut Jantung Negara. Sekali lagi, thank you very much to Puan Kamalis Wari Arumugam, Senior Principal Pharmacist for today's session, and I end today's session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next week.
Thank you, Rizwan.